The election's over. Donald Trump is the president-elect, and many are saying this is a repudiation of the media and the elite, a way of pouring hatred on them like gasoline, then torching the hatred with the match of our anger, then watching as they go running from the New York Times building in flames and jump in the Hudson River to put themselves out, and then float out into New York Harbor while we pelt them with rotten vegetables, and then wave to them as they drift out to sea, and then go home and laugh about it. Many are saying this is a repudiation of the Obama administration, a way of saying to the president, hey, Barack, if you like your legacy, you can keep your legacy. Oops, no, you can't. Sorry, because everything you accomplished with a pen can be struck out with a pen, and everything you accomplished legislatively, oh, but wait, you didn't accomplish anything legislatively, so never mind about that. Now, let's say you pack up your leftism, your executive orders, your hectoring speeches, and your hatred of the country that gave you everything you have, and go jump in the river so we can pelt you with rotten vegetables and watch you drift out to sea, then go home and laugh about it. Still, others are saying that this is a gratifying failure for Hillary Clinton, that she corrupted every institution she touched in her ravening hunger for power, that she lied to us, enriched herself off our public offices, that she emptied herself of every principle to win the highest political prize, only to have it snatched from her clawed grasp so that we can not only breathe in her despair like a fresh perfume, but drink her tears like golden wine and dine on her suffering as if it were a rich, creamy chocolate cake, or maybe a nice brie Hillary suffering cheese spread on a Ritz cracker of her despair with a wine of her tears on the side, whichever you prefer. But I say it's time to put the divisiveness aside and join together in our common goal, revenge. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, ipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
You wouldn't believe me when I said that things were tickety-boo, right? Well, I'm sorry I had to dash that opening off. It was not my usual well-crafted opening, but I did want to say something. It's it's a good day. We have our little meme that we made, the Trump sign on the Wicked Witch. Wow, what a day. We're all exhausted. We were here, I think, 8.5 hours. We were on the air live yesterday, which was amazing. I am feeling really good. I got to tell you, I have never been dishonest about my feelings about our president-elect, Donald J. Trump. I have misgivings about him, but this is the way I feel about it is this. Whatever he's done that's wrong, whatever he said that I didn't like, whatever record he has not ever worked for me until now. Now he works for me. Now he is on my payroll. Starting today and the things that he does, these are the things that I get to judge him on because these are the things that I'm paying for and that he does on my dime. As far as I'm concerned, it's a blank page. No evil thing is written on this page. Not one evil thing is written on this page. Every day is a day. And do I have fears? Yes, but I also have a lot of hope for what's going to happen. I hope that we'll have a more constitutional Supreme Court. I hope we'll have an end to all the executive orders that we had from Obama, including the amnesty. I hope we will have an end to Obamacare, which is crushing people. I hope we'll have lower and simpler taxes. I hope we'll have less regulation. I'm not an isolationist, Trump has isolationist tendencies. But on the other hand, George W. Bush had a little bit of world-building tendencies, and that has never been a conservative principle. Conservatives have always believed in a muscular foreign policy, but a reticent foreign policy. Stay out of foreign wars if you can. We all followed George W. Bush under terrible, terrible duress as he made a very, very big leap into the world to try and clean up the Middle East, a leap which ultimately has failed as so far. And if Donald Trump pulls that back a little bit, not a bad thing. But I think the biggest thing is we just have to savor the fact that I'll talk about this a little bit more as we start to look at some of these speeches, because these speeches from like Hillary's concession speech and Barack Obama's speech are just coming in as I was coming into the office. So some of them I haven't even heard yet, and we'll go to those. But I just want to point out the election wasn't rigged. There wasn't widespread fraud. There's always a little fraud. There's a country of 300 million people. I don't know what it ended up being, 160. How many people voted? I'm not sure what the end numbers are yet, but it wasn't rigged. The money that we talked about, all the money Trump must have spent almost half the money, or raised almost half the money that Hillary Clinton raised, had less of the ground game. All those things that we talk about didn't happen. I mean, this was an amazing achievement. It was a historic reversal. I hate that word historic because they use it about single thing that happens. But it was an amazing feat that he took on. He took on the Republican establishment. He took on the left-wing establishment. He took on people like me who were really doubtful about him. He took on the media and overturned them all on the strength of the people. And man, oh man, if you cannot look at that and say, what a great country. First of all, this is the most entertaining country on earth. I mean, it really is true. Freedom is entertaining. This is the one thing about it. Freedom is a million laughs. It's like the fact that nothing comes out the way you think it's going to come out, the fact that the people can just rise up and tell all these stuffed shirts in their offices and in their, with all their opinions and their degrees and their awards, can just tell them, buzz off, we don't care what you think, we're going to do this our way. That's a beautiful thing. And if you don't appreciate it on a moment like this, if you don't stop and just say for a minute, whoa, this is cool, this is great, then what are you fighting for? If you're not enjoying it, what the hell are you fighting for? I mean, this is an amazing thing. Before we go into all these cuts, I just have to say make one personal comment. About a year and a half ago, I guess it was, we were all doing this thing, Truth Revolt, maybe 2 years ago, and it got shut down. And Ben and Jeremy Boring, the God King of the Daily Wire, we were all doing this together, and it got shut down for reasons that don't matter. And the biggest fear that I had was that this election, which I just considered a momentous election, which of course didn't look anything like I thought it was going to look like, I was afraid that I would not have a voice in this election. I would not be able to say what I say, which, for whatever good that it does. It may only affect one person, but even that is quite an impressive thing to do, and may only alleviate people's, make people laugh in moments of fear and despair, which is worthwhile. I'm so grateful to the people, our overlords in Texas, the Wilks, who have allowed me to do this and who have never, ever told me what to say, or even when I know they disagree with me, they've never shut me down in any way. I'm really grateful to Jeremy Boring for the work he does putting this place together. He has done such an amazing job building the Daily Wire, which really springs in a lot of ways out of his head, like Venus from the head of Zeus. Is it Athena? Maybe it's Athena from the head of Zeus. And yeah, it is Athena from the head of Zeus. It's an amazing thing that he has done, and I am honored. I'm honored. If any of you listening to this, if any of you ever tell him I said this, I'll call you a liar. But I'm honored to be working with Ben Shapiro. We were here 8 hours, and I just had a chance to marvel at what a terrific. He's a great broadcaster. That's a gift he has, and he's learned to do it better and better. But he's also got a man of substance and principle, and that to me is one of the joys of my life, is working with people and knowing people of integrity. That to me is a great thing, and I just love it. And some of you may say, well, as he himself said, well, he got it wrong on the numbers, but getting things wrong is not a sin, and it's not a disease, and you don't die from it. And I can speak from experience, because I was wrong, I think 1967 it was wrong. We were all so wrong so often in this election. And you know what that should tell you? That should tell you, right, the future isn't written, and we don't know it past a minute. A minute. All this stuff about, I always make fun of the global warming guys with their computer models, because there's so many variables. This is true in politics, it's true in life, it's true of every single moment that you're here. And the result of that means on any average day, because you don't know what's coming, on any average day, your hopes are just as justifiable as your fears. It doesn't mean you should ignore your fears. It doesn't mean you shouldn't look forward and try and dodge the bad things in life, that's why you have fears. That's what they're there for. But you live into your hopes. And I think I'm living into the hope of this new administration, with all its hilarity and all the things we're going to get to make jokes about. I'm living into the hopes of that. And I have hopes. I know one of the big fears around here and among conservatives is that conservatism is going to be left in the dust. I have hopes that as we support Donald Trump from the right and as we oppose Donald Trump from the right, a new conservatism is going to come about, where we start to join with some people who maybe we wouldn't have thought we would join with before. A new conservatism conservatism that's going to include all these people who felt left out of the old conservatism, and it's going to maybe not be the perfect, pristine, theoretical conservatism that we all love, but it's going to be something new and useful that is going to have worth in this new field that Donald Trump has essentially brought into life. It really is a different world in a way. It's not, don't listen to the triumphalism. It's not a miracle. It's not, everything is transformed forever. This is an endless football game. It is an eternal football game between freedom and slavery. I would say that we just scored a first down in this endless football game for freedom. Hurrah. They're going to score first downs. We're going to score goals. They're going to score goals. It's all going to be like that. It's every blade of grass. We fight over every blade of grass. It is totally worthwhile. Let us take a look at Hillary Clinton's. We'll play some of Trump's victory speech, but let's take a look. I haven't really seen this, at some of Hillary Clinton's defeat speech this morning.
Our campaign was never about one person or even one election. It was about the country we love and about building an America that's hopeful, inclusive, and big-hearted. We have seen that our nation is more deeply divided than we thought. But I still believe in America, and I always will.
Whenever candidates give these speeches, these concession speeches is the word I'm looking for. You're going to have to forgive me. I've been working on about an hour of sleep. Whenever we see these candidates give concession speeches, everybody always says the same thing. Boy, if she talked like that through the race, she would have won. Everybody says this whenever anybody gives a concession speech. And that is because defeat is humbling, and humility is kind of a nice thing. It's a good thing. This is a woman whose every dream, you look at her face, I don't know if they can see her face. This is a woman whose every dream for her entire life just got smushed and just got shattered. And we have made fun of the fact that she has emptied herself out for this ambition, which ought to be a lesson to all of us. But everything that she has hoped for and worked for, every humiliation she has endured from her husband, by Barack Obama, has just been multiplied 100-fold. And yet she's turning in this fairly decent and fairly open-hearted speech. Let's hear a little more.
And to all the little girls who are watching this, never doubt that you are valuable and powerful and deserving of every chance and opportunity in the world to pursue and achieve your own dreams.
One thing I have to say is her defeat. The New York Times had their typical graceless op-ed where they start out by saying this is a humbling rebuke of the media. It says in their op-ed, this is a humbling rebuke of the elite and the media, and then goes on to say, well, misogyny played a role. You think hey, if it was a humbling rebuke, be humbled. Be humbled. Yeah. Because you know what? Misogyny played no role in this. Women, turned out, what are some of the numbers here? From the exit polls, these will get better as we go along. Among white voters, Clinton only won among women with a college degree by a 51 to 45% margin. And you know what that means. Don't let your daughters go to college because it makes them stupid. But actually, from whites, surprisingly, given all the attention to Trump's attitudes and behavior toward women, he did virtually as well among white Republican women, 91% support, as he did among white Republican men, 92% support. Clinton was more competitive among white independent women than men, losing to Trump by a 49 to 41% margin among independent women and by 57 to 31% among independent men. I just don't think the fact that people would elect a woman, and I think women know that. With Barack Obama, I always knew that we would elect a black guy president. I don't think anybody really has any problem with that anymore, or did before Barack Obama was elected. But somehow the press convinced us that we had to prove ourselves to them. And this time they tried it again. We weren't buying it. We don't care what the press thinks. I think it's very, very clear that their power has been lessened. What's really important, and I talked about this a little bit last night because we talked about everything last night, including Dr. Strange. The media's power has always been less than people fear, but it has always been increased by fear. That is, when we sit around and say, well, the press is going to say this and the press is going to say that, it doesn't matter unless you're afraid. And the people who are afraid are the guys in Congress and the guys in the Senate who aren't going to, guys in the House who aren't going to shut down the government because they're so afraid that the press is going to blame them and then the people will blame them. Well, you know what? You fight the press. You don't, that's the thing that Donald Trump did. He fought the press. I remember sitting here and laughing out loud when he said, "You corrupt guys in the back rows." I mean, that was great stuff. And that resonated with people, and that is the stuff that the Republican establishment, the Republican mainstream has not had the guts to do. And that is the power of the press. When that fear goes away, the press and their lies, and they do lie, and then after they lie some more, and then they lie that they lied, and then they lie about lying. They do that, but the power of those lies is the power of your fear that they'll be believed, and that is what I think Trump stood up to. Hey, we got to say goodbye, I think, to Facebook, do we not? Yep. Goodbye, Facebook, and come on over, and YouTube. Come on over to the Daily Wire. And boy, oh boy, if after watching last night, it was a good show. It was a good show for 8 hours. If after watching it, you don't subscribe, that's only $1 an hour. That's a lousy $1 an hour. And if you subscribe for a year, you get Ben's novel, which is really good. I think I once called it True Alliance. It's True Allegiance. But I have read it, and it is incredibly entertaining and really fun. You get that. You get if you subscribe for a year, I think you also get a month free. Anyway, do it, but come on over to the Daily Wire and listen to the rest for now.